Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Variety Hour. And we were meant to record this a few days ago, but my partner in crime, Sergio Paradise, has ended up being a bit unwell. No, he's currently getting better in a treatment centre in Las Vegas. So I've been told, or is it Arizona? I can't remember. So filling in today, because we wanted to get one in this week, and there's been a lot happening, is the greatest banner writer of the current century, Danny McGuinlay. Welcome, Danny. Welcome back to the pod.
It's good to be home. It's my first one since
last year.
Last footy season. Last men's footy season.
Yeah.
What have I missed? Anything?
Nothing. It was all very quiet.
It's all still ball tampering jokes.
Yeah, basically. Bagging Pat Howard, same stuff.
It's good to be here. So what's wrong with Serge? Is it the heroin again?
Yeah, no, I can't say on air. It's not the heroin this time. No, he's fine. He'll be back next week. So
he's so prolific.
Yeah, no, he cuts across all types. The main reason I didn't want to, before we get started, you got anything to plug?
Oh, sure.
Because it wouldn't be a podcast if we weren't plugging stuff.
Oh,
well, I've got grave doubts of anyone listening to the end, so we might as well do it now.
I'm on at the European Beer Cafe this Saturday with Bob Franklin, and then next week I'm on at the Comics Lounge with Hung Lee. So if you're in Melbourne, come to those. If you're not in Melbourne, I don't know. Just like me on social media.
So European Beer Cafe.
Yes.
This Saturday.
Bob Franklin, great act.
Great
Very
act.
excited.
And you.
Yeah.
The way you said that, it's like, yeah, I'll also be there.
So there's very few comedians I get excited about working with now, but I saw Bob Franklin, I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah. So who are the ones you don't?
Titus O'Reilly.
If you could just name them all.
Yeah.
So, and I should plug that I've obviously got the Melbourne International Comedy Festival coming up. So that's, I think my first gig's March 27th, so running through to April 21st, I think. So I'm doing 23 shows, I think.
How many
and
will be good?
Maybe as high as 3.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You are getting better.
Thanks. Yeah, off a very low base.
Oh, and I should plug the other podcast I do. He's coming back with Limo and Tess Armstrong. They came to play.
Well, we'll be talking about Limo in a little bit, so there you go. That's through the ABC, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Depends what I say about him. Maybe I won't be back on the
that's right. You could be in real trouble. So if you want, I'll put the link, the Comedy Festival tickets in the thing, and they're selling quite quickly. And last year, I think, the last sort of run of 15 or something all sold out. So, yeah,
we've got stuff going on.
So so get in. Don't miss out, because it's going to be good when I sit down and write it. The real reason I wanted to jam in a podcast this week more than anything else is, a lot of stuff's happened. We got the JLT back tonight.
Oh, finally!
Oh. Yeah, we've got the JLT.
You tweeted earlier that just reminding us that no one knows what JLT is.
No one does. One listener wrote in last year that it's just like training.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Which I thought was good, but I think they're like a finance company or something. But it just constantly amazes me how no one really knows.
Yeah, I mean, it used to, when it was a knockout tournament, it at least sort of was mildly. So I remember when the Bulldogs won the 2010 NAB Cup.
Yeah,
and that was
you thought that was going to be the highlight of your entire life.
I do have it on DVD. That's not a joke. Because back then, at least you were winning something, and Carlton used to win it. I think in 2007, Carlton won it and then got the wooden spoon in the proper season.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So I wanted to get in the AFLX feedback because it was so.
Yeah.
We got JLT back, but then I think AFLX is the all-time greatest comedic creation the AFL's ever done.
Yeah, now you emailed me, or you rang me yesterday to say, hey, can you fill in for Serge? And so I should admit, I did not watch any AFLX, mostly due to my child was very ill with diarrhea, so I had something better to watch.
Well, you didn't miss a lot.
Didn't I?
No, I think some people... I found really interesting what was happening about AFLX is that everyone bagged it.
Yeah.
Then the AFL and the Patrick Dangerfield especially and Nat Fyfe, all the people making money out of it,
yeah,
being paid to promote it.
They were happy.
They all came out and started to say, I just cannot believe the negativity. I just cannot believe, what idiots these people are. And I'm like, what, almost the entire footy community are idiots? Is that what you're calling us? Because that was what it was like. It was like...
I've never seen the football public be so galvanised.
Yeah, and they were all going, what idiots and you all are. And Dangerfield and Fife were acting like... They were seriously... They were just disdainful of people, like, can't believe how stupid you people are. And it's like, well, hang on, we're not all being paid $50,000 for one night's work.
Maybe they could change the rules of AFLX, and so everyone who attends gets $50,000.
Yeah, then I'd be interested.
I'm keen.
And they almost would have got a crowd then if they'd done that.
Yeah, how was the crowd?
I think it was 28,000, a bit over. But the thing you got to remember is...
No one paid. Yeah, I got free tickets.
Everyone got free. Like, if you pay, I know, if you paid, you got rolled because they were giving away tickets.
Well,
like
were there
crazy.
A lot of Demons fans hoping, because Demons fans would love AFLX. You are now, because now it's all those stupid teams.
We can't be passed in.
Yeah, you are the current forever champions. It's like when,
but we share it with two others.
No, not in this
not
state.
In your mind, not in this state.
Because like when Footscray beat Essendon in 1924 for the title of champion of Victoria. Yeah, and they've never replayed that, so we are still the champions of Victoria.
That must have comforted you on those cold, lonely nights.
You of all people know, you take what you can get.
So the thing about it all, though, sorry, just choking on my coffee then. The thing about that is I found that interesting, that backlash, because the thing is, they were saying, well, it's for the kids. And you're like...
Oh, yeah, because kids hate footy.
Yeah, because kids hate footy. We really need it.
My son's just staring, going, boring.
And I didn't see this groundswell of kids being that interested either. So anyway, secondly...
So you watched it?
Yeah.
All right, and were there kids in the crowd?
There were kids in the crowd, but, like...
Were they there, against their will?
They were there not watching.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Oh yeah, did they put on fireworks? And
they're doing everything else, and it's
there's like horse racing and tennis. If you need all these distractions off the field, you don't have a real sport.
That's right. People aren't. So anyway, they were saying it was for the kids, but I don't know why they hate kids. But anyway,
make the Wiggles play.
Yeah.
Then my 2-year-old would have been a lot more into it.
The thing about that though, the thing that I think they don't get is like even if the AFLX, to me, the idea of creating a version of the sport that can be played on a smaller ground, such as a rectangular oval, fine. Yeah. I have no problem with that.
I get it.
It's like they have the AFL 9s, which is it's more, it's more casual game that gets played 9-a-side.
That's like a touch thing as well.
Yeah, it's more touch, and so I get the idea of creating a sport like that. That's fine.
Yep.
You don't have to play it on the top level like they're doing it. Secondly, I mean, if it's a true grassroots thing, because the idea that this was being able to be shown overseas and people would join the sport was just nonsense, because it just wasn't.
Yep.
Then it's the fact that all the resources and energy and money could be going elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at so it's not even that. That's why. So when people say, and I think Gerard Whateley came out and said this, and I think Nat 5 said it, they go, you don't have to watch it. I don't get why you're getting so upset.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, we're not. We know we don't have to watch it. It's the fact that football is a community sport, belongs to all of us. We all care about it. Yeah. And the fact is, this is taking away from the AFLW. Even if you don't like the AFLW, it's taking away from money that could be on grassroots football.
Yep, local clubs, rooms refurbished.
Yep, and
little leagues,
all that sort of stuff. It also takes away just the energy from promoting the game in. You've got. We haven't locked down Queensland yet. If you look at it from an Aussie rules perspective, we haven't locked down Greater Western Sydney, and the Gold Coast Suns are hardly. So you know what I mean? Like all that time and effort that the whole of the AFL headquarters was pretty much focused on AFLX. Yeah. Or a lot of them.
Has anyone suggested that if you want, so they want the rectangular game, that's fine. So it can play it in China.
Yeah, and look, I get all that.
Suggested make that state of origin.
Well, there have been suggestions of that.
That's a good idea. I just thought of it then.
Yeah, and that would
I don't care who stole it before me. Yeah. That's my idea.
But that would make some sense.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be elite players. It could be, I'm sure there's people who play for Northcote Park Cougars or North Heidelberg Bulldogs who'd love to play State of Origin and will give it a go.
Yeah, so some of that makes it. But I just think, I just think the whole strategy is like crazy. And then they sort of just doubled down with the, it was like the more they were annoying people, the more they went out of their way. It got into an us against them. It was like, all right, there's all these haters out there, so we're going to just annoy them by innovating even more.
Yeah.
And so they did their scissors, paper, rock. They did the...
that was the moment I went, oh, you're just trolling.
Yeah, you are just trolling.
This is great.
And the way the players all did it and then acted like it was incredibly funny and that, and I'm just going, you guys are trying so hard.
Yeah.
This is just painful. Like, you know what I mean? They all did, it's just us having fun. We're having so much fun. And it's like, really?
Well, then
when did football become
Monday?
When did football become about fun? Football's about going and being miserable. That your weekend's been ruined.
So I noticed your D's membership has come back in.
Yeah.
Just speaking of misery.
No, this is actually last year's.
I didn't. Oh, I thought you burnt it.
Yeah, no. I thought you left it in Perth.
Oh, that's right. It's evidence in your victim impact statement.
That's right, of what happened at the, so...
In the prelim.
Yeah. So anyway, we should add... we got some great questions on AFLX.
All right.
So I watched it. My big thing about it is, and this is not new, this is what everyone said last year, it's like a training drill. It's like taking the best bits of our game out.
Yep.
And just leaving the rest in.
So what is there?
No real tackling, no real, there's a bit of marking and stuff, but not much. It's like none of the tackling, none of the running, none of the long, it's just, and then they'd added all rules and like, the Gatorade game changer and the...
What was that?
That was in the last 5 minutes. They would score double points if they scored. You could nominate someone, and then they had a launch zone you could kick from and all this. And to be honest, after a while, I just couldn't even watch it.
Yeah.
And then it was also completely meaningless because it's not even...
It's like...
not even a team you
It sounds like
care
Quidditch.
About.
Like the sport they play in Harry Potter, but which is a completely stupid... Like, it's actually a great sport, except for the fact that if someone catches the golden snitch at the end, it's worth 150 points and that ends the game. And all the rest of the scoring is like 10 points, 5 points.
Oh, so it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. Like, so you can dominate the whole game and you're up by 140 points and then suddenly the other team grabs that golden
Sounds
snitch.
like soccer.
So, the AFLX is Quidditch. I think we've...
Well, it's without the magic. So anyway, that was kind of funny. They Phil Corey wrote in, who's from the AFR, the Australian Financial Review. Melbourne supporters would know what I meant by the AFR, but it's interesting the Bulldogs supporter didn't. What's that?
Is that like the Trading Post?
He's written in the probably the best question. What is the point of AFLX?
Well, I think Phil's a good journalist because he goes right to the heart of it.
He's nailed it.
You want to answer?
No.
To be able to answer
there was a lot of people who retweeted this question going, this is the key question to the whole thing. Daniel Fernley wrote in, how disappointed were you that the AFLX rulebook didn't win the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay?
Well, who did it lose to? Who won that Oscar?
I did watch bits of the Oscars.
Did you?
Yeah. I don't know why. I was the one.
I haven't seen many of the films just due to having small children, but my mate did tweet that he was really excited about Green Book when he saw it, and he said, this will replace Anchorman as the new Shawshank, as the movie that all AFL players love.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it went Shawshank for years, then Anchorman this century.
Yeah.
Now I haven't bought a footy record for ages, so I don't know what it is.
It'll be,
Could someone hit us up?
To be honest, I think it's still Shawshank.
It's probably gone back.
Yeah, I think Shawshank, it's never really faded away. Because people like to say Shawshank too, because it's a great movie and all that, but it also, it makes them sound like it's a worthy movie.
Yeah.
Although,
have you're mates with Tony Martin, you do Nova with him. Have you heard his theory of why it's terrible?
Why?
Well, it's the whole thing. Tony Martin points out that so at the start of the film, Tim Robbins is going to kill his wife because she's having an affair. He goes to his car to get a gun, and then in that 30 seconds where he goes to get a gun, someone else unrelated breaks into the house and shoots them.
Well, that's just luck. He got lucky, but then he got framed for it.
It's Deus Ex Machina. It's bad storytelling.
Yeah, that's true. Teague Cullis wrote in, when does AFLX trade radio start?
That's true. So who won? Rampage won.
Yeah, I think so.
I chose Deadly as my team.
Did you?
Yep.
What can you identify as an Indigenous
Do you have
Australian?
to be Indigenous to?
I think
since we're ruining their game, they might as well. Might as well win it.
Well, I think.
I also don't want to be the person cheering against the Indigenous team.
Oh, right, because you think if you beg for any other teams, you're racist, basically.
I do live in Northcote.
That'd be a great column to write.
Yeah.
Bolts, Rampage, and Flyers fans are racists.
I think we're doing very well considering we're recording this on the 28th of February 2019, and we are very much avoiding the news elephant in the room. Yeah. And you're bringing up Bolts, so anyway.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, for us to not mention that, we have a hope in Pell. Anyway,
we should. I like that Winners Trade X radio start. Rodders wrote in: Is Lawyer X the legal profession's attempt to revamp itself and appeal to a wider audience?
So that's to do with Trump? Is that
no? Lawyer X is the.
He's Person X.
Yeah. He's like
Defendant A or something.
It's his individual one, I think.
That's it. So who's Lawyer X?
Lawyer X is in Victoria. It's been found that and I think it's not allowed to be named yet. It's under. Everyone knows who it is because you can go online and find it in about 2 minutes. But it's a lawyer who represents a lot of the gangland, the Mothbells et al. Of the world. And they were, while representing them, were also working basically as a informer for the police, which has caused all sorts of problems because you're meant to the way the legal profession's meant to work is you've got to be able to trust your lawyer.
Yes.
They can't work at the same time as an informer.
Lawyer, patient, confidential.
So there's a royal commission
client.
into it. So they're only known as Lawyer X at the moment because we can't name them.
Okay.
And I think tomorrow, you might. Apparently, there's a pressure order.
Let's just go with Lionel Hutz.
Yeah, that's right. Taylor Brasser wrote, with Patrick Dangerfield expecting another child, do you think his children to be father-son selectors for the Bolts?
Was there a team called the Bolts?
Yeah.
Now, that's not an ideal name.
Well, it was the Lightning Bolts, but they just called them the Bolts. Yeah. They were the Catholic team.
And how'd they go against the Risdales?
Oh, God. This is why I might not have you back, Danny, because of the legal. Because I've got lawyer. I need Lawyer X here. Campbell Ackland wrote in: should the Flyers, and they lost to the Rampage in the final.
Oh, so Deadly came last.
Not sure. I wasn't following that. God, I wasn't. I was drinking heavily while watching it.
I'm amazed. We're up to almost 18 minutes. And we're still on AFLX. Good on us.
So Campbell Ackland wrote in, should the Flyers engage collective mind over the off-season in a bid to take home the bigger prize in AFLX next season?
I think it needs a complete clean out that fish rots from the head.
Yeah,
Who's the CEO of the Flyers?
They need to go up to Gold Coast and do a bit of a pre-season camp.
Wait, will they be sitting in a bus with bags over their heads listening to the Rampage theme
song over and over again? Raf H wrote, why did Channel 7 end the AFLX footage before Jack Rewalt got on stage with 3 drag jugglers, a unicyclist and an acrobat to sing Mr. Brightside?
Oh, I can answer that. They decided AFLX was for the kids, but the post-game celebrations were strictly adults only. It was actually sponsored by Club X.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. We should, moving on from AFLX and hopefully forever, do you think it will be back next year?
Oh, yeah, they're doubling down. We keep saying AFLX is rock bottom, and the AFL goes, mate, you have no idea how many more rock bottoms I have.
I don't know, I'm sort of into...
They're going to get Bruce Willis to drill a hole.
It rated, I think it rated okay, but not great. Like, I think it had 350-odd thousand.
That's not great.
Which is not great. So, I don't think it... For the effort and everything and the backlash, I think... It depends, because Gillen's now entering, I think, his 6th year as CEO, which is kind of amazing. It feels like he's sort of still new in a way.
Yeah, that's
but he's
true,
actually been...
Demetria was there for most of the 20th century.
Yes. So when you think about it, like, who knows whether if Gillen leaves, I think whoever comes in next, I think that's the natural break for someone to go, I can endear myself to a lot of people, but also just focus the organisation back onto some things by just getting rid of this. Or just saying it's going to be focused at the grassroots level.
And who is the new CEO of the AFL? Who's waiting in the wings? Are we getting a celebrity? Is it going to be Kennett? They're going to.
I think it's going to be Ida Buttrose.
Great. Brilliant.
Who knows? There was Mark Robinson wrote a column guessing it would be Brendan Gale.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Which would make
stuff at Richmond.
That would make some sense. I don't know.
He was head of the Players Union, wasn't he?
Before that, yeah. No, yeah.
That's good.
So there's a few like that around. I mean, God, I'm on the anyone but Hocking.
What?
Gary
Hocking?
Yeah, after he did all like the rule changes and everything. Not the only the other one.
Oh, Stephen Hocking.
Stephen Hocking, sorry. We talking about all the other teams being racist. Eddie Betts this week, we had another person comment, a racist comment on his social media, which I won't go into the actual thing because it's all the same. They're not even creative. They've come out quite hard, all the players and the clubs and everything about this.
Yep.
Do you think, I mean, one, we all wish this would stop, but the thing is, there's always going to be one idiot on social media that just will do this even for the reaction, right? They don't go into this surprised. Like, there's, you know what I mean? They're sort of, this isn't one of those, this isn't one of, there've been cases where people do, oh, I didn't know that term was, or I didn't, you know, it's like every time someone says, I didn't know blackface was racist. Yeah. And you go, what, you've never read a paper ever? You've never engaged in the world ever? So I don't know whether the big reaction is the right thing or ignoring it completely is the right thing.
That's up to Eddie. If Eddie's...
No, I'm saying I just don't know the best tactic to deal with it.
Yeah.
Not saying whatever people do is right or wrong. I'm just saying I just genuinely don't know.
Yeah. We don't.
You'd be surprised to know that I've got. You'd be surprised to know I've got no idea.
Yeah.
I've got no expertise in this area. I know that's not what you meant to say. Well, it's not just that. It's just also like, does anyone know how to deal with this in a way that works? You know, like
people would know better than us.
Well, no, I know that, but I'm just saying, like with social media trolling, whether it's racism or not.
Yeah.
Do you engage or do you not engage? You know what I mean? Do you?
Mute.
Yeah, see, I just don't engage.
Yeah,
but
if you block them, they know you've blocked and they call that a win. So.
I just ignore them. But so I don't know what the.
You just ignore them or invite them to come on your podcast.
That's how I met you.
Thanks for that.
So I don't know what's the best way to deal with it in a way. I mean, they're talking about they'll be able to find out who this is and ban them from things like, their AFL membership and stuff, which would be good, you know. It's just interesting. I think one thing that influences all of this is one, it's happened to Eddie Betts quite a lot. And if it's happening to Eddie Betts, I mean, Eddie Betts is beloved by the footy community.
He's one of the best footy players of the generation.
Yeah,
he's so much fun to watch.
everyone seems to like him too. Yep. I don't know him, but everyone seems to like him who's had anything to do with him. So, you know, you go, if you know, and so with Eddie, there's none of the, which I never put any stock in, but you know how with Adam Goodes, there was all the, he started getting too political or he staged for free kicks and all this crap, which I thought was all crap. But
absolutely,
with it, this sort of proves the point that it doesn't matter how an Indigenous Australian behaves or what they do or whatever, or whether they're nice or they're quiet or they're loud or they speak up or don't speak. It doesn't matter. Like they're on a hiding to nothing no matter what. What I do think is why the clubs and players in the AFL will come out, and I think this is a good thing strongly, is I think they learned from the good stuff that not acting decisively looks terrible.
Yes.
And doesn't help the situation at all. You know, they're kind of a bit scarred from that event, the AFL.
I think that this would be good if they just maybe combine the two. Like, don't make a big song and dance in the media, but always find the person and always ban them. And then they have to. So, say it wasn't in the media, and we found, and this person's found, and they're banned, and then they have to explain to their mates, you know, do you want to go to the footy this week? No, I can't. Why not? They've sort of been banned. And then that'll grassroots bring it up, but definitely ban these idiots.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. New footy show lineup has been announced, and you'll be surprised to learn that Gary Lyon's not thrilled about it. Which Gary Lyon was really naming a lot of things he wasn't thrilled about this week.
Not enough friends attractive.
Well, he was annoyed about people claiming, we'll get into the drug stuff, but using mental illness as an excuse, which I thought was terrific from Gary.
Yeah, he did that, didn't he?
Well, that's what everyone... That's the thing. No one wants to say that, but that's what everyone thinks. Everyone thinks Gary was using mental illness as a shield for his bad behaviour.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with mental illness is people do want to take it seriously.
Yep.
So you don't want to accuse someone of faking it because what if they're not?
Yeah.
So that is the thing. But I thought Gary getting on his high horse about it all was at least kind of wasn't the best person to address the
Do you know what doctors need to invent?
issue.
Is like anyone who has any mental illness of any depression or whatever, we need to invent some way that it makes like a physical action. So like someone's ear turns green, and then it's real.
So everyone knows.
So everyone knows, and then you're like, oh,
that
man,
should be great
absolutely.
when you're going for a job interview.
So you got the green ear? Yes.
You can't not hire me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not sure that's the solution.
No, it's not, but it's an idea I had for science, and I think science has really fallen behind on a lot of my ideas.
Oh, yeah, no, they're not keeping up with it at all. So the lineup that seems to be going to be the new footy show lineup that Channel 9 have announced is Limo is going to be the host, and Brendan Favola is going to join, and that's
cool.
Partly also, I mean, Nine might have wanted him, but he was also on a big contract, and this is the second year of that, so I think they sort
Fair
of...
enough. No, Favola's good. I'm happy with that. Although, no, I'm not happy because I'd love to have him back on game day. He was hilarious.
Was he?
Yeah.
And then Dylan Alcott, who is obviously a well-known footy fan, as well as being and being an one of the great tennis players. So he's won the Australian Open how many times now?
I think like
4 in a row or
million or something.
He wins it like regularly, and he's a really nice guy too. So, what do you think? I mean, you're kind of good friends with Limo too. So you're not So when you were saying off air that you think it's he's going to be a train wreck. And oh, I kid. You were being very, very complimentary to Limo. But do you think Limo...
Limo's under... Like, he can't talk about it, so he's...
Yeah, because it hasn't been officially... It sort of doesn't seem it's been officially announced.
Yeah.
This has sort of been a leak, and...
I've just heard rumours from other comedians who did auditions.
Yeah, because I knew there were lots of people who sort of auditioned, and there was all... that. But, yeah... So, whether... My thing with this is whether it's Limo or not, and Fev and all this... and it sounds like it is because there haven't been people coming out denying that's the case.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it was an official announcement.
Them, throwing the scent off. Because it's Channel 9. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, Lavinia Nixon.
Well, remember when they announced...
And Aussie Ostrich. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Just make it hey.
Remember when SEN announced that they were looking at... It sort of leaked that they were looking at Gary Lyon and James Hird toast breakfast.
This is a few years back.
And that was, and then the outrage over James Hird coming back in the game then was like, through the roof. And that reminded me a bit of, that was very much a, let's put this out there unofficially, engage the reaction.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was the case here, but I just think the footy show's going to have, whoever comes in and does it, it's an uphill battle.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because it's been such a beloved show for 20 years. And to have the upheaval... People are either... The diehard fans are going to hate whoever...
They'll go, there's no Sam Newman, that's why I watch, and that was a very hardcore group. And
even if they do a brilliant job, they won't be given a fair treat. It'll be like when Josh Earl took over Spicks and Specs, and I thought Josh did a really good job.
Yeah.
And he was finding his feet before ABC axed him.
Yeah.
But, it's just you're on a hiding to nothing. So
it's a bit the same... it's also they're coming up against Front Bar, which is now the incumbent,
yes.
and it's still only a few years old, so it's not getting long in the tooth at all.
That's
it's
right.
sort of hitting its strap. So they're going to have that problem of being up against that.
Yeah.
An established show that's worked it all out, and they've got to work it out. And TV doesn't really give you months and months to sort of...
No.
They don't give you a year to get it right or to win over an audience.
And with a footy show, it's not like they can do practice episodes in the off season to talk about, or maybe they did an AFLX episode.
Yeah, that's right. That's when they should have launched it. So the other problem you have is that the schedule, there's a lot of Thursday night games, so the schedule moves around a lot. So it won't be always on Thursday nights. It'll be on same with the Front Bar.
Front Bar's on Wednesdays for like the first month, I think.
Yeah, so that all moves stuff around, makes it a bit hard. So anyway, it's interesting. They're also looking at a as yet unknown female sporting identity. I've heard...
That's a bit awkward. I wonder how old she is, and she still doesn't have a name.
I've heard Nerily Meadows is one they've looked at, and who was the other one? Matt
Edwards.
Shani
Leighton.
Yeah.
She's good.
So there's a
Bianca
few like
Chatfield
that.
might be in the mix as well.
She did The Block with Channel 9.
She did, and she's on
the women's football show as well. So
which channel's that?
That's 9 as well.
That's not. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go.
So yeah, look,
Chuck Chatto on. She's good.
We'll see whether that works, but it'll be interesting. I mean, they sort of had to make a change, but the other thing is they got to. How do they do it and not be just seen as like a front bar light?
Yeah. It's do they go because to put Limo as when a comedian is hosting, it's very hard. Like a comedian's natural place is to sit at the side and heckle.
Yeah,
like, that's why front bar's great because you got Andy Marr doing all the hosting, and then so Mick and Sam can be hilarious.
Can just riff off it and then bag him
on the side. But it's a bit like but it does work on Gruen. Like Will hosts and throws jokes. So, yeah. It's. I wish them all the best. I love Limo, and I hope it becomes because if it's a great battle between front bar and footy show pushing each other, that's brilliant for us, the viewers.
Oh yeah, you want it to. The competition will be good. This week, drug use in the AFL came up again.
Oh, did it?
This, to me, is the most frustrating debate going around. So basically, you had Grant Thomas come out and say everyone's on drugs and the AFL's a disgrace, which odd position for him. He's usually so supportive of... He's such a positive guy. So when he was like... I was like, really? It's not like you
what
to...
What did Kane Corn say?
It's not like you to not go with the AFL, Grant. So he came out and said some stuff, and then Nick Rewalt came out and said some of the current AFL players are taking the piss when it comes to illicit drug use, exploiting the system because it's got latitude built into it, and they've limited repercussion. Yes, they're literally taking the piss.
It'll be like that Seinfeld episode where Elaine needed Jerry's mother's urine. They think she has osteoporosis.
Yeah. Grant Thomas also, he said that he believes drug use was rife during his time at the club. I'm assuming he means with the players because we do know that off-field, the Butters has admitted to being on a lot of drugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's come out and admitted that. That's not slander or libel. He was on a lot of drugs, he said, when he was president. So
that does make sense. That's a position you need to medicate.
Yeah, you would. That's right. That should be the one case is legal. Yeah. Others have come out, like Andrew Dillon's come out, who's the general counsel of the AFL, and said the idea that one of the other claims that came up was that 16 players at one club, a single club, had been spared from random drug testing because of mental health issues. So this argument, which is where Gary Lyon would is people using using mental illness as sort of cover to get out of drug testing or all that sort of stuff. Now, my thing that bothers me about this debate is the AFL have taken it. One, I'd say this. The AFL are not, I've said this before, it drives me a bit mad. Like, you've got the US, world governments, police, FBI, CIA, all these groups with billions of dollars have tried to stamp out illicit drugs with no success or very little. But we expect the AFL to suddenly come in with a policy and the idea that any AFL player is taking drugs is the AFL's fault. Yeah. When the AFL operates in the exact same society we operate in, and they're not actively encouraging drug use or a nod and a wink to it. No. That's not, as far as I know, the AFL...
An AFLX team called the Flyers.
Yeah,
could be,
that's right.
I'm not sure.
The AFL, the ecstasy next year. But you know what I mean? Why would we expect the AFL to be it's almost written up often like they're not doing enough and they should stamp this out. Yeah. And I'm like, why? They have, as far as we know, they're not encouraging it actively. They're not selling them the drugs.
Should the AFL send the life education van around to each club and Harold the Giraffe can tell them?
To me, the AFL, this is illicit drugs we're talking about, not performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah. Now, I know some people will say all illicit drugs can be performance-enhancing and all the wrong.
And there is problems with suburban footy of players taking ice.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm not, but that's also reflective of often where, there are areas in the country where ice use is rife. Yeah. And that's where I bet the footy clubs also have a lot of it too. So it's never removed from... It's not like there's a footy club in a town and no one else in the town takes the drug. They just take it. That's not what's happening. So for me, the AFL have taken this rather sensible position of on illicit drugs, we're going to lean less towards the criminal way of treating it and the punishment end, and more towards the medical support level.
Which what doctors have been saying.
Which is what everyone's been saying forever, and we've got more proof than you'll ever need that the criminal approach or the punitive approach does not work in any way, is not the deterrent, is not the thing. Now, to me, I'm fine with it. Like, I don't get the outcry over it. Like, if a 22-year-old who plays AFL, who's got a lot of money and is under an enormous amount of stress, takes ecstasy on a weekend and gets pinged, like, why should they be hauled up and pilloried in front of everyone? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's
what a lot of kids are doing.
It's I'm not saying we go, hey, well done, keep going. Like,
you're not suggesting pill testing at 3/4 time.
Yeah, I'm not. Like, but they would go through more testing. Like, in a lot of workplaces, and I know there's a lot of workplaces, mining and stuff, where they do drug test.
Yeah.
And they would face the similar issues. But I mean, I know a lot of work, like office workers and journalists and all these, where. I mean, we're just hypocritical. We want them held to a standard that no one else would want.
I'm sure the retail workers at Off Your Tree get tested just to make sure they're on it.
It's compulsory.
You've got to know what you're selling.
You can't start. The way you log in to your shift is just to have a few. You got to have 2 cones.
Got to punch a cone, yeah.
Punch a cone, not a colour, not a card, not a clock. Punch a cone.
Your foreman comes over. I noticed, Skylar, that you didn't pull your first cone until 9:13. We do open at 9. I've got asthma. That's no excuse.
I'm 14. I'm just the work experience kid. Hayden Cloak wrote in, did you have any idea AFL players were taking illicit drugs before Grant Thomas told us this week? Oh, no, Hayden, it's a real eye-opener. Daniel Eade wrote in, is there a drug epidemic amongst podcast hosts?
Yeah, some of us can't afford it.
I would say there certainly would be amongst listeners, because to listen to all of this, I would recommend a big dose of something.
And there's a big thing of listening to podcasts at 1.5 speed. So
exactly,
just so you can keep up.
You feel like you're on drugs. I think that's very true. John Kovich wrote in, with so many AFL players allegedly using recreational drugs, do you think players have misinterpreted the meaning of drug testing?
Oh, that's good. So they're doing a community service.
Yeah, well, I thought you meant we should test all the drugs.
They'll go on pillreview.com.
So anyway, I just think this is this comes up like every year. Everyone gets outraged. And I'm just like, for once, the AFL, I think, have got it right.
By just not doing much.
No, but they do something. They test. If you found out, there's a limited amount of strikes, so it's not like you can just do it forever.
Yeah.
And they don't name and shame you, and they try and move you into programs where you learn about it and you have the ability to correct it and you get the support that you need, rather than going, that's it, you're out. And
they are talking about bringing in drug testing X, where there's unicyclists and juggling and fireworks.
Make the drug testing more exciting.
Yeah, it's for the kids.
Maybe that's the punishment. You have to play AFLX if you're actually making everyone on drugs while they watch AFLX might have made it a bit more interesting.
IBag's got the flyers. They're not deadly. Deadly doesn't. I don't want the deadly drugs.
So moving on from that, one of the amazing stories of the week was Chelsea's goalkeeper refusing to come off in a cup match, a cup final.
Yeah.
I haven't been following the Premier League as much since it moved to
the League Cup.
Since it moved, yes, but also since the English Shocker, since it's moved to Optus.
Yeah.
Because,
do you have a team in the English Premier League?
Yeah. I'd vote for Man United.
Oh, okay.
Because of Irish connections.
Yeah.
So that was going back a long time. But I used to watch it a lot when it was on Foxtel, and now I find my problem is I've watched so much sport. I'm genuinely to the point I'm having trouble keeping up with everything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's amazing, And so the time difference.
Well,
American sports start sort of 10, 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I can watch while I write or do other things. So I've found I'm watching them more, and then footy all weekend.
Yeah.
But the Premier League, because of the time difference, and once it moved to Optus, I've just found it.
Yeah, I can watch Optus. I have to plug in my laptop, and put a HDMI cable.
Yeah.
Like it's the dark ages. So there's not an app for my TV. But
Oh,
I
really?
don't watch much. I watch Scottish Premier League. Just
Yeah. I watch the A-League, but I don't really watch, which is funny because if you don't watch the Premier League, the A-League seems fine. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I recommend Scottish Premier League as well. In fact, the A-League seems a bastion of good sportsmanship and non-violence.
Right, that's good to know.
I took some mates to watch Celtic v Rangers at a pub, and actually it was Limo. And Limo turned to me 15 minutes in, he goes, "So, do you get a free kick if you bleed?" I went, "Yeah, that's prison rules."
Is it that rough?
The Scottish? Yeah, it's great.
Right.
And big drama last couple of days at my team Celtic. Brendan Rodgers just walked out on the club. He's been the manager for 2 years. Leicester City offered him like £6 million a year.
Oh, well, that's good reason to walk out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did he not have a contract with...
He did, yeah, five years, and Celtic gave him permission to leave. So I think there's been battles between him and the board.
So they weren't against him leaving, I take it?
No, they said, yep, cool, get out of here.
Our blessing.
Yeah, and so that was sort of...
My understanding of Scottish Premier League is... Yeah. Couldn't I go over there tomorrow and coach Celtic to the championship?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, Rangers are getting better.
I know, but for a long time it was pretty one.
Oh, there's a great joke.
When Rangers left.
It used to be a 2-horse race. Now it's just show jumping.
Yeah.
But so Celtic have brought in their old manager Neil Lennon, who Rangers fans hate because he winds them up so much, and he's a Northern Irish Catholic, and he's had bullets sent to him in the post, and he's had many death threats throughout his life.
Right.
And so he's now back in charge of Celtic and beat Hearts this morning with a last minute goal, and he was and Hearts are another team that really hate Neil Lennon.
Right.
So it's becoming a lot like wrestling in that we've just
it sounds
back
less like a sport and more just...
Which is what soccer needs.
Well, this was good on the Chelsea's goalkeeper. He just refused to come off.
Now that was fun.
Then stayed on for the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
And promptly they lost.
Yeah, I'm actually with the Chelsea keeper on this. I hate it when a manager brings on a substitute goalkeeper for the penalty shootout.
But wasn't there questions over that the goalkeeper was a bit injured?
Oh, the one who stayed on.
Stayed on. So there was talk of that.
But this is a tactic.
Kepa, there was talk of him being injured. So he stayed off. He was saying... the argument was a misunderstanding, and he was saying, thought he was being subbed off because he was injured, and he was yelling, "I'm not injured, so I'll stay on."
Right, okay.
But, I mean, that was such nonsense because it was so obvious. But he just didn't go off, and the coach just gave up.
Yeah, that is
And he stayed on, which I mean, it's... you should try this next time you're in the pub, and the bouncer says, you're done, and you just go, No, I'm not.
I've seen it actually work. My mate Shane is very persuasive. But it's like my kids play toddler soccer, and often when they're doing the wrong thing, I just physically go up and pick them up and carry them off the field. That's what the coach needs to do. Just pick him up, carry him home.
Well, the goalkeeper's been fine, but there's been a lot of talk of the coach not really having control of Chelsea. So does
anyone have a control of Chelsea? Just apart from
that's
Roman?
the problem. Evan wrote in, did Kepa believe he was the nominated Gatorade game changer? And if so, is his act of insubordination justified?
I really wish I understood that. It sounds like a good joke.
Shane Mumford was returning. He's already banned because of his video of him snorting cocaine from the first 2 rounds, but it looked like he was going to be banned for the 3rd round after punching someone in the practice match. He lashed out at George Hewitt, the Swans player's head. Got banned for a month. He's appealed it and now got a fine. But it does make you wonder, does he really want to come back?
Well, yeah. How many years did he have off? Was it 2 or just
2,
1?
I think, yeah.
2 years. Imagine 2 years off and then having to go back and try to get yourself to
I think he's just
AFL
missing
level.
Hitting people.
Because his boxing career never took off.
never fully. There was talk of him fighting Paul Gallen, wasn't there?
Sure.
So that was sort of the thing. So it does make you wonder if he's ever going to come back. So that's the last week been downgraded or fine. The Gold Coast captains have named 2 co-captains, David Swallow and Jared Witts, which is the first reminder that the Suns are actually going to try and contest this season, at least in terms of showing up. I thought they might just say we'll be back in 2020.
Yeah.
Like put a sign up back in 2020.
I thought they'd have to
excuse us while we rebuild.
They'd have to recruit players the way that if you walk through Surfers Paradise, there's always those backpackers trying to get you to do nightclub tours or listen to a timeshare sort of seminar, and one of the other traps is you end up playing for the Suns.
That actually
they
should
promise
be
you Dreamworld tickets, and then you've got a contract.
That should be the punishment if you get 2 strikes against you. Go play for the Gold Coast Suns. One of the most interesting stories this week was Robert Kraft, who is a billionaire worth $6 billion, who owns the New York Patriots.
New England Patriots.
New England Patriots, which is the most successful NFL team in the last, probably ever, you'd say, but in the last 20 years has been, with Brady as quarterback, has been through the roof.
Who would have expected that there would be another story involving the New England Patriots, balls and blowing?
So in Florida, he was caught up in a sting that the police were launching against sort of massage parlor prostitution, really. And
prostitution is completely illegal over there.
Yeah, and also this was sort of often happening in strip mall massage parlours, and
strip mall. That's getting. I'm getting different images.
It's like a local shopping strip, you know. That's basically what it is. But you're right. It's it's right there in the title. So anyway, this place has been apparently they'd identified that there were all these massage parlours that were offering sexual services for money, that the women there were sort of either illegal immigrants or trafficked and made to work against their will and all that sort of stuff. So it's a horrible story.
Which is horrible, but that's been refuted by a few reports that I read. Because I knew nothing about this. Literally, you sent me the run sheet. And the notes you sent me, it says, Jupiter Police announced Friday they had video recordings of Kraft. And I go, Jupiter Police?
Yeah.
Do you go to a giant gas cloud?
Someone was saying that Robert Kraft is quite good friends with Donald Trump, and someone was saying, imagine having to explain to Donald Trump that this wasn't part of Space Force, that this actually was. So anyway, when they launched this, they found Kraft. They called,
who's, by the way, a widower,
and he's 77 years old, and he's got $6 billion, and here he is in this Florida suburban mall.
Good on him. He's supporting the small businesses.
They also found a billionaire Boston hedge funder, John Childs, who's also 77.
Yep.
Golfer Johnny Del Prete, and a former Citigroup president, John Havens, 62, all involved in this. So the police chief said that when he was shocked to learn that Kraft was involved when he's worth $6 billion. He said, we're as equally stunned as everyone else. But it just shows that you can have $6 billion and still be a normal bloke.
Yeah, well, it's. I mean, if those women are trafficked, that's obviously horrible and everything. But if it's due to arcane,
could the Patriots be more hated though? They're already one of the most hated teams, partly because of their success, but and cheating.
But he's not cheating; he's a widower.
He's technically not cheating.
One of the few times the Patriots aren't cheating, which is well done.
Are you a Patriots fan?
No, I go for Ravens.
Right.
But I don't follow NFL enough.
Right.
I know that I don't go for. I know Patriots are down the bottom for me and stuff. So it's. But I read because I knew nothing about this.
Yeah.
So I read a couple of articles, and one was saying that the women weren't trafficked. It's just due to arcane sex work laws and it's just.
So you're saying they're all very happy, well paid, fulfilled.
Well, we don't know, but it's just due to puritanical beliefs in America, and because he had, and this is the phrase that caught my attention. It said because he sought commercial sex. And that just made me think of some hipster just going, you've sold out.
You've sold out, man.
It used to be just about some loving,
that organic sex. I only participate in organic sex. Free range. Yeah.
No pesticides involved.
Oh, that's right. That's what you got to do.
Well, then this is a family-friendly show.
We did. We got through all of that. Now we need to give a book away. My latest book is Sporting Chance to the best question.
Okay.
Did you have I've got a few ideas, but do you have a preference or?
Yeah, there was one that made me laugh. I'm sure we could go back and listen to it. Trade radio. AFLX Trade Radio was pretty good.
All right, Trade Radio. T. Cullis. Well done, T. Cullis. So when does AFLX Trade Radio start? The latest one. Sporting Chance.
That's really good. I read it over summer.
Oh, thank you.
If anyone did get it as a Christmas present and they just want to pretend they've read it, I would just say focus on the cashed up businessman. That was my favourite.
That was your favourite bit.
Flew through that because at the start I'm going, oh yeah, Jeffrey Epperson. And then when you got to the NBL shysters, I loved that.
Oh yeah, there's some horrific stories of just dodgy businessmen in sport. It's great.
And they really went to the NBL.
Well, actually, since that's happened, there's been a bunch of, in horse racing and other things, all these things happening, and I'm like, this. You're just going, I could almost have written another book since the last one came out.
Yeah, you could do a yearly.
Yearly just scandal.
2019.
So I imagine if you included politics in it as well.
Yeah, this could be the
shame list.
Titus, why do you always put yourself as number one?
Yeah, that's right. If everyone knew. Oh, well, thanks, Danny, for dropping in. You're at the...
Pleasure. Yeah, European Beer Cafe this weekend, Comics Lounge next weekend. Who knows after that? You can hear me on ABC Podcast. They came to play with alleged footy show host Limo.
Oh, very exciting. And I am doing the Comedy Festival, so tickets will be in the link in Melbourne. We'll almost certainly get around other cities later on, but first through March into April, late March into about almost the end of April, be doing the Melbourne Comedy Festival again, which was a lot of fun last year. So come along, and we'll see you next week.